Welcome back to this segment of Tennessee Prep Weekly, brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to designate a sober game plan. If you've been drinking, don't drive. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Going to Knoxville, Tanner Carson with PrepWeekly.com. Tanner, let's start this way. You got a couple of squads that are just perennial region champions in Alcoa and Maryville, but both will be challenged at least this week record-wise. Gatlinburg-Pittman will take on Alcoa. They're 7-1. Alcoa, of course, with a big win last week over Kingston, and then Maryville will take on McMinn. Kind of talk about those two games, and do you give any shot to either one of those ball clubs to upset the Kingpins?
Yeah, I mean, these two matchups are definitely interesting, as you said, record-wise. Now, as we see in the past when, like last year when Maryville had to play McMinn County, and I was even at the game last year when Alcoa had to play Gatlinburg-Pittman. And GP came into that one with a pretty good record, came into that one thinking that, they would at least be able to give Alcoa some type of a challenge. They definitely have a good enough offense, and we're talking about Gatlinburg-Pittman first and foremost. They definitely have a good enough offense and a well-rounded enough defense to, I think, keep it respectable. But the way we have seen Alcoa handle their Region 2 3A competition this year, I think it might be some more of the same old song and dance. Alcoa's definitely had more of an opportunity to be on the field this year when compared to Gatlinburg-Pittman. GP is 7-1, which is great, and nothing against them. Their only loss came at the start of the year to a really, really good Kings Academy team, D2 Single A. But other than that, they have they got 2 wins due to COVID issues, and I think they probably would have won either one of those at Trinity Academy and at Austin East. But you really need all the on-the-field experience that you can get when it comes to playing a team like Alcoa if you want to keep that one respectable. I do respect Gatlinburg-Pittman. I think they'll have a chance to get a good little postseason run, but Ahmad Sankey and the running back for Alcoa, and that just that overall defensive unit. Like I said, the same old this season for Alcoa. I think Alcoa is going to win pretty big in that one. I would say by at least 24 points. But again, all due respect to Gatlinburg-Pittman, I think it's a little bit of a different story when you go over to 6A and talk about that McMinn County Maryville game. Though, again, I think Maryville is going to win that one. I think they'll end up winning that one by double digits. I think it could be interesting in the first half, though. McMinn County's been an absolute juggernaut on both sides of the ball this year, and they're especially a treat to watch on offense with running back Jalen Hunt. He's a Western Carolina commit. They have a Virginia Tech commit on that offensive line. This is going to be one of the most talented teams that Maryville is going to play all season, outside of Alcoa. And, depending on whenever they might meet Oakland again in the postseason, outside of that, this McMinn County team is no joke. They rarely play McMinn County this late in the year. They're going on the road. It's going to be a tough environment. Again, I think Maryville is going to win. Quarterback Carson Jones has been outstanding. He just went 18-19 in the win against Ooltewah, where they absolutely just beat them down 56-12. But McMinn County's been beating down people just as bad as Maryville usually does. We saw not that long ago, just a couple weeks ago, Maryville had to play Bradley Central, and they were trailing at halftime. Now, of course, they came out in the second half and just blew the doors off, but it made you think, oh, well, you know what? If you get Maryville on a bad night, if you play absolutely fantastic A-plus football, you could make this one really interesting. I think McMinn County can put some points in this one. Once again, picking Maryville to win, but keep an eye on this game.
We've talked all season long about 5A and how strong it is in your area. Region 2, South Oil sits on top, but they'll take on Knox Central, who's right behind them by a game. And then in 3A, West is 3-0, but you got several squads that just have one loss behind them.
Yeah, a couple of interesting matchups. I'm going to be very, very interested in that South Oil game. They're coming off of a bye week. They're going to play a Knox Central team who, all of a sudden, this past Thursday here, these two-time defending champs, they got shocked a little bit here. They had to play on Thursday night against Halls, longtime classic rivalry in the North Knox County region here, the Battle of Black Oak Ridge. And Halls, all of a sudden, a team that's had to battle some COVID-related issues, had to miss some games. They didn't play for a whole month at one point this season. They come out and just absolutely look outstanding defensively, making clutch plays on offense. wide receiver Nolan Fowles getting touchdown receptions of 81 and 73 yards from quarterback Ty Humphrey. They're able to upset two-time defending 5A champs Central 20-16. It makes that making that Region 2 race a little interesting here. I would usually think that Central would be turning on around this point in the season. I mean, they're still, fantastic. They still have a 6-2 record. Who knows what's going to happen once they have to really, really defend that crown in the playoffs? But looking very vulnerable against this South Doyle team. I'm very much looking forward to that. Going over to Region 3 as well. West is absolutely outstanding right now. As I look at, and it's going to be the same thing when the new poll comes out. But Knoxville West ranked number 1 in the AP poll in 5A. For what they did against Powell the other week, it's really making me think that, Fulton, it could be interesting. Fulton is galvanized right now. They started out 0-3, and they've been able to rally to clinch a playoff spot after they had a come-from-behind victory against Campbell County on Friday. I don't think they're going to be a match for West. And then, after Fulton, West can handle Campbell County on the road. West should be able to roll into the playoffs 10-0 with that Region 3 championship. But, Tim, as you mentioned, though, I mean, there's just a couple teams that are just a spot or two behind them. They're probably going to have to face Powell again in the playoffs, just like those two faced each other last year. Oak Ridge is on a roll right now. They upset Mount Juliet this past Friday as well, so don't count them out as well. So, Region 2, Region 3, and 5A, really a whole lot of good football. I'm very excited to see what becomes of this Region 3 race once the postseason gets started, though.
Talking Knoxville area football with Tanner Carson.
Tanner, you obviously see a lot of teams every week in the Knoxville area, and one we don't talk a lot about is Division II, and in particular in that AA classification. You've got Webb, CAK, Knox, Grace, and for the most part, they're all very consistently good. Talk a little bit about where those guys are this year as we come down the stretch, and your thoughts on them potentially making deep playoff runs.
Yeah, we really got to get started with CAK and Grace, don't we? Because those two are going to be playing this Friday. That's always a great rivalry game that happens every year. This is going to be the most important matchup of these two teams in quite some time, quite frankly, when they face off. It's going to be a game that I really do think is going to, and we'll bring a Webb here in a second, but as of right now, that's going to put whoever wins in that driver's seat for that D2 AA East Region Championship. If CAK is able to get that win, that's pretty much going to seal it for them. I'm very much looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to a lot of points being put on the board. CAK is going to come into this one at 8-0. They've been, handling teams in the region quite easily for the most part here, a lot easier than Grace has. Of course, Grace is the team that does have a loss in the region when they got upset 2 weeks ago by Chattanooga Christian, 59-48. No one expected that type of result, I'm sure. But they have a chance for redemption. They have a chance to get a really big one, Grace does, against CAK. Lost stars on both sides of the ball here, especially on these offenses. For CAK, you got quarterback Ryan Deggs, running back J.D. Dunn, stable, great wide receivers like Grant Sturchy, who just had a fantastic performance last week against Boyd Buchanan in the 24-point win. And then for Grace and Rusty Bradley's offense, quarterback Cooper Riggs, another stable wide receivers, Michael Human being one of the ones leading that wide receiving core. I'm expecting, again, plenty of points and a lot of implications for that D2 AA East Region race. But going over to Webb, just to mention there real quick, because you can't ignore them. 4-3 on the year overall. It's not as an impressive an overall record when you stack it up against CAK and Grace, but they're 3-1 in the region. They're not out of getting a high seed, and potentially, depending on how things shake out, being able to upset some of these really good teams in these last two games of the season here. They're at home, both games. You got Chattanooga Christian, who, like I said, just the other week upset Grace. And if Webb beats them, they'll be 4-1 in the region. And Well, we'll see what happens. Depending on the CAK Grace outcome, that can make that Webb CAK regular season finale the day before Halloween very, very fantastic. Webb's been a little inconsistent this year. Won a game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game, won a game, lost a game, won a game again. But, this is around the time here where if you're going to play your best football, this is the time to do it going into near the postseason.
You're absolutely right, and looking forward to that game this week, and should be an absolute barn burner. He is Tanner Carson. Of course, you can find his work at ProFootballWeekly.com. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break by the tennis here at Radio Network.